My name is Hudgen. I am an Episcopal priest and I serve in Boston, Massachusetts. I was very fortunate to have a process and people around me that were very clear, that said the church is about truth, and we want you to be healthy and open and happy, and that's what we're about. At the time I was married to a woman, and we had made this our church home, and in the midst of this, we divorced, and I came out as a gay man. I'd never really been in, but I chose that would be the focus. I understood that was the focus of that part of my life. And this was a church that had journeyed with us through our engagement, stayed with us through the ending of our marriage, stayed with us as I began that journey, and didn't make us choose. That understood and helped us to understand it was all part of what Christian community was about. And I tell you, you have that experience, and I said, if this is what church is about, sign me up. I grew up in a conservative evangelical Protestant tradition in the South, and I was involved in church life from a very young age as a musician. And so from a really early age, I had people tell me, oh, you're going to be an evangelist one day. And with what that meant in that context, I sort of said, back away. No, I wasn't interested in that. I found a lot of the religious upbringing of my youth to be spiritually violent for me. And one day I walked into an Episcopal church and found an answer to a question I didn't know I was still asking. How do the things that I value in my life, how do they fit together with the Creator of this world? One of the beauties and part of the genius of the Episcopal Church is that we don't demand everyone believe exactly the same thing. And the way we work this out is very messy. It's very, very messy. I sometimes call this advanced Christianity, because you have to really want to do it this way. It's a lot easier to be in a place that tells you what the right thought is, that tells you what the right practice is. We don't do that. We say, we believe you are a sentient human being, that God has endowed you with intellect and with community, and we call everyone to come together around God's table, irrespective of those differences. What we say is we will pray together no matter what. When the first openly gay bishop in the United States, in the Episcopal Church in the United States, when his election was, finally got the final okay, we were asked to do I'm not going to get this right. I cannot get the facts of this wrong. We were asked to do a moratorium. That we would not consecrate any more openly gay people as bishop. So our House of Bishops did a courageous thing and actually led the way. It was poetic. It was deeply theological. It was exactly right. They said, what we will do in order to honor this moratorium is that we will consecrate no more bishops. We will not single out any one part of our body. We will act as a body. That still brings tears to my eyes that they would do that. The film is very personal. I mean, it rings true for me in a very personal way. The struggle of Reverend Alex is very real. Not only in terms of the humanity of it, but in her priesthood. You cannot get out too far ahead of your people, because then you're no longer leading them. They've lost their way. They can't see you anymore. You can cast a vision that's pretty far out there, but you have to stay with your people while you get there. But in the story, it gets lived out in this very particular way. It's her daughter. There's that particularity, that personal particularity coming through. You can't change that. And having to choose sometimes between what we know to be true for our own person and the calling that we have accepted, the limitations on that person that we have accepted by our ordination vows, tempered again by the prophetic voice that we hear, sometimes that we possess, but that we hear. The pain is almost indescribable. And there's that part of the story that, that's really what captivates me about it. It's very real. It's very honest. It's very genuine. And it's not a side that often gets told to the public. There is a lot of self-sacrifice in that. Where I think the church has had to wrestle with this in particular is who exactly are we asking to make the sacrifice? If you sacrifice on my behalf, you're making a sacrifice. If you're asking me to sacrifice on your behalf, that's murder. You're asking her to choose between her priesthood and her parenthood. Both of those are vocations deeply rooted in life with our Creator. How do you choose between the two? Is it even possible to tether them out? In human terms, no. You can't. She can't suddenly stop being the mother. But she's also, in classic terms, she's the mother of that congregation. Some will hate that terminology, but that's where it comes from. I don't know how you make that choice. Because to choose one means you are violating the other. It's not merely a choice not to do it. It is a violation of what that vocation is on both sides. How do you do that? It's a Sophie's choice. I'm really clear that I believe God is calling the church to embrace the covenant of marriage for all humanity. I'm also aware I have brother and sister priests and bishops and deacons who do not see what I see. And so the struggle it's that tempering of, I'm very confident, so are they. The first wave of gay and lesbian marriages in the church are often from people who've been with us for a very long time. There was, I remember back in the 1990s, there was the Beyond Inclusion movement in the Episcopal Church, where we rose up and said, stop talking about including us. We're already here. In many ways, we are still the early Christians. We are just now beginning to figure out, we went down that wrong road, or we see God more clearly over here. This is closer to what we believe our Lord was really talking about. We're just now figuring out so much